All right, everybody. So, welcome back to this No Cap podcast, part of educational entities. My name is Jovan. I am the host of for today's episode. I am the leader for Students for Equity. I am a senior in high school, and I'm very excited to get into this topic today with you all. Now, before we get into it, if you're tuning this on Facebook or any other social media platform, share this within a group that you're in. Tag like 5 people that you think would be very valuable to the discussion. And real quick, let's introduce one of the members who actually make this entire thing possible with me.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tiara Hanley. I'm a junior in high school, and I'll be bringing you the NCZ news. This month highlights is National Indigenous Peoples Day and National Drug Awareness Month. In the United States, National Indigenous People Day is celebrated on the second Monday of October. It honors the history, the culture, the contributions that they have made across the country. It also aims to promote awareness of these people face, the challenges they faced in the communities, and to celebrate the resilience and diversity. Many events include culture and performances, educational activities, and community gatherings, fostering dialogue and understanding about Indigenous issues and heritage. National Drug Awareness Month is observed in October in the United States to raise awareness about the dangers of drug abuse and addiction. The month aims to educate the public on the risk associated with substance use, promote prevention strategies, and encourage individuals to seek help for those struggling with addiction. Follow us on Twitter and YouTube under Educational Entities. That's the NCZ News. Let's go to NCZ Games, Movies, and more.
All right, so real quick for NCC games, movies, and more. Here's for the are all the new things that are popping off within inside the tech game and movie industry. For games, we're finally getting the sixth installment of Call of Duty Black Ops. This is the latest installment within a popular series that most people love. This focuses on intense, futuristic combat and new gameplay features designs to enhance the strategic gameplay. Now, for the movies, it is called Shinobi. This is based on a Sega classic. It is currently developed and directed by Sam Hargrave. The film aims to bring a fresh set of action take to the ninja genre. And for VR, we're finally getting one of the classics for like the 2000 and the 2000 babies, which is Just Dance VR. It'll be released yesterday actually, which is October 15th. This transforms the iconic game industry inside an immense VR experience. This is going to be on the Meta Quest and Oculus with 360-degree environments, and this offers a new way to enjoy your favorite tracks through VR. So, today's episode is around the second episode for season 4. We are going to dive right into the significant issues of vaping, smoking, and drugs among teens. Now we're going to explore the health interests, or not the health interests, but the health choices that they will make, and we will hear from people who have firsthand accounts from teenagers who have seen the challenges of addiction, as well as insights from health professionals on the long-term consequences of these type of behaviors. And today's episode's goal is to raise awareness about the risks associated with vaping, smoking, and drug usage as we choose to empower this with students with the knowledge needed to make a well-informed decision about their health and well-being. So real quick, today's topic is called vaping, smoking, and drugs, the real impact on teen health and choices. So before we get into our questions, can we introduce our esteemed guest that I'm so excited to have on? JVA, you can bring him on. Okay. While while we wait for JVA to bring this out. Oh, there we go. So we can go ahead and you all can introduce yourselves, of course, in order where your hierarchy with this.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeremy Canis Parabin. I'm currently a junior attending Mora High School and serve as the first vice president for Walking in Authority Teen Council. and I'm also the founder of the Anti-Vaping Committee within WIATC.
All right, we can have someone else come in and introduce themselves.
Okay. Hello, my name is Haley Wong, I'm an 8th grader attending Elite Scholars Academy and serve as a member or part of the Public Relations Committee for the Walk-In Authority Teen Council.
Hello everyone, my name is Katie Wing. I attend Elite Scholars Academy as a sophomore, and I'm currently co-chair for the History Committee of Walking in Authority.
Hello everybody, my name is Kim Fan. I attend Elite Scholars Academy as a junior, and I currently serve as the treasurer of the Walking in Authority Teen Council.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Yadita Mejia. I'm currently a junior attending Memorial High School, and I am the Public Relations Chairwoman for the Walking in Authority Teen Council and a member of the Anti-Vaping Committee.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Andrew Milner. I attend Morrow High School, and I currently serve as a member in the Finance Committee within Walking in Authority.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Uche Nebo. I serve as the Events Committee Chair of Walking in Authority. I am a junior at Morrow High School, and I am a part of the Anti-Vaping Committee.
All right, so with that being said, we have a whole bunch of teams here for today's discussion, and as well as one of them mentioned, with them being on the anti-vaping committee, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to bring them out. So let's get straight into our first question, and it is: how do you think vaping, smoking, and drugs after a teen affects a teen's physical and mental health? And have you seen any examples among your peers?
Well, to answer that question, I think our my research has shown me that it has a negative effect on teenagers' physical and mental health. And some examples I could bring or I could give you are some of my friends IRL who they smoke and they do drugs and stuff like that. But one thing I've noticed about all of them in general is they're they're really like I'd say slow and lethargic when it comes to like physical activity, one, as well as just thinking and computing stuff in their brain as well, like solving questions and stuff in class. Um, they're slow to do that sometimes, and as well as they have trouble figuring out some things in class, noticeably more than like other people.
So, young people are opting for electronic cigarette use, which is also causing like a health crisis known as EVALI, which is electronic cigarette and vaping associated lung injury. And these e-cigarettes produce a vapor from a liquid with nicotine and other harmful substances, which makes it harder for the individual to quit smoking. For me personally, I know a lot of people at my school and a lot of people from my classroom in specific have done it at least once, most of them. Or this just group of people from my class, they just all like get together and they all have that one thing in common. They all have tried something in the past or they still do it very consistently. So I know that for a fact, a study of over like 2,500 individuals aged 13 to 24 reported the most symptoms of depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts, with THC only smokers reporting the most anxiety, while over half of those vapors reported the most depression out of all.
All right, does anybody else have anything else to add to the question? All right, so let's keep it moving. So the second question is: why do you think some teens start vaping or smoking despite knowing the health risks, and what are the factors that that will influence their choices?
So actually I do know a few people who smoke even though, or not smoke, vape, even though they know the consequences it might have. But I only noticed that they do it because they think it's a good coping mechanism or if they have suicidal thoughts. That's definitely a big reason why some people smoke vape, even though they know that it's going to be bad for them. I think some, like mostly just the internet and like social media, they'll see it and they see people like feeling better because they smoke. I think that's one of the main reasons why people even vape if they know the consequences.
So to touch on the marketing tactics and all the types of incentives that companies use to lure all these teens and young adults to go ahead and use a vape. They put ads with colorful choices, flavors that appeal to an average teen's eye. And also, like, on social media, you have people that would advertise these things as coping mechanisms, as mentioned. And it really appeals to someone like ourselves, like people in high school, people in middle school, to try these things just because they're cool.
Okay, moving on to question 3. How does vaping or smoking impact things you might not initially think about, like sports, performance, academic focus, or daily energy levels?
A long-term effects on your body. It can affect all your organs and your mental processes. But in the short term, vaping mainly affects your hormones, including your happy emotions like dopamine and serotonin. These are the energies you need, the hormones you need to balance your energy levels. When you vape, you disrupt that system. You cause an unnatural high bec- by taking vapes, by inhaling that puff, inhaling that high. But once it's done, you're left lower than you were before. When you want to do an activity, you're going to feel less motivated than you would before you even started vaping. Vaping is very negative because once your balance is thrown out, it takes a while for you to regain it. So you might not be able to perform the same way in sports because your energy is too low. You might not be able to focus anymore because your energy is completely gone and your focus is destroyed. But if you take the measures to realign your mental self, you can balance out your energy levels again. You just got to take the steps to quit vaping and do other activities, other alternatives.
So Uche did touch on the energy levels. Well, this can really significantly lower your motivation, especially for activities such as going to the gym. So this will create a negative cycle as a lack of exercise can worsen your anxiety and depression because not many people know that it can release endorphins in your brain, which can make you feel better. And for teens, this is particularly harmful because avoiding exercise may deepen the feeling of anxiety and depression, which makes it even harder to break from the cycle.
And to
On
add
to
on to
question.
that,
Oh,
a quick way or simple way that you can get back on track is just doing things that you love. An activity that redirects your focus on something positive that slowly builds your focus up again. I suggest to everybody to find what they love and do it.
A final note that I would like to add is the question in particular also focuses on how it affects school performance and such as sports. So the thing is that when vaping, it does affect, hands down, it affects your mental and physical well being. But when it comes to sports, we know that the main thing that we are using is our physical performance. One thing that we learned from vaping while researching how it impacts teens our age is that it actually contains a chemical called formaldehyde, which is found in environments that are also relating to coal mining. And formaldehyde is a chemical also found within the vapor of vapes themselves. So it does affect your physical well being. More specifically, it has a detrimental effect on your respiratory system. So the thing is that with physical performances such as sports, basketball, cross country, track, you're always using your respiratory system and you have to learn to keep your body healthy. But when teens begin to vape and they had already had the habit of participating in sports, they realize that it's becoming harder to participate in sports because they are having the usage of vapes.
And something I'd like to add on to what Yeremi said is how the physical effects of it. I know one of the effects, I've seen it in person. Um, a lot of people on my wrestling team, they vape and they smoke, and sometimes it has a effect on their reaction time and how fast they're able to process things when competing against, or when competing against your teammates or, other people. And just in general, it has like visual effects. Like you can see it happening, like and compared to when they like are on times of like or like times of when they're I'd like to say sober and when they've taken a break from that stuff, it just shows that vaping causes physical inability when it comes to things like sports.
Okay, so real quick, I have a quick question to ask you all. Um, how do you think that your schools or your communities are making better support systems to make teens make healthier choices when it comes to vaping, smoking, or drug usage?
Okay, so to begin off answering this question, the question asked what our communities have been doing. Nonetheless, as teens, as being a teen myself and seeing this issue firsthand, is our communities are actually not doing a lot for this issue, which is why we as teens that have firsthand with the problem based on our peers, we actually are trying to make a community initiative, which is why we have the Anti-Vaping Committee, because at the end of the day, we can't fully put the blame in our communities, such as city councils or principals, because most of these things that, for example, teens, they're vaping in classrooms, these things aren't really seen by principals because they really hide it whenever they vape. So, as teens that notice when our peers vape and just get the aroma, the smell from the restrooms and from our classrooms, we want to truly make a change, which is why, again, we started this initiative. And how we're planning to go with this, so our community actually does create change, is by bringing this issue up to city council meetings. Because we know the facts and we know how it affects one's. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, yeah. How it affects one's mental health, one's physical health. And because our communities are not doing as much while bringing these issues and facts to our city councils, we're planning to make ways that we can have, I guess you could say, policies or more stricter rules that prohibit vapes, because clearly what has been enforced now isn't really assisting the matter.
And I'm not sure how long this has been going on, but recently I just learned that for my class, there's going to be a specific lesson on the dangers of vaping and overall just nicotine and tobacco. I think that's a great start, but because it's like, it's a grade, it's an assignment that our teacher assigned us, I feel like this might not really make that much of a change because students are just trying to get through and pass the class rather than actually look at what the information they're being given.
While we're on the subject of it being dangerous, I do have a question. How do you address the argument that vaping is less harmful than smoking traditional cigarettes?
Well, I think because vaping is more of a coping mechanism, people feel like it's better to vape other than go out and smoke or something like that because they don't really pay attention to what they both do. But for the audience out there, both cigarettes and vapes have nicotine, and any dose of nicotine for a young adult or or a teen or a child or anyone really that isn't an adult is very harmful because it can really alter your brain chemistry and cause irreversible damage to your brain nevertheless.
So, not only that, but I have seen vape companies say that vaping is a better way to cope with things rather than smoking with a cigarette because vapes don't really contain the bad products that cigarettes do, but in reality, they're basically the same level, even if, for example, vaping, the effects may show up later as the teenager uses it more rather than cigarettes.
Yeah, and I feel like with cigarettes, everybody's seeing, oh, it's a cigarette. Smoke comes out of it. It's dirty. It's gray. But with a vape, it's all colorful. Like the marketing that Katie was talking about, the marketing is different. It's all colorful. It's fruit scented. It's scented as breakfast. So it also appeals more to like teenagers. So a teenager might come up and be like, but smoking isn't as vaping isn't as bad as smoking because it has this and this and that. It smells like oranges. So that's, I feel like, another, it's a bad argument overall.
Okay, well, on to question 4. What role does social media and popular culture play in promoting or discouraging vaping and smoking amongst teens? How do you think this influence? How do you think this influences perceptions?
Yeah, so the thing is that with social media, particularly platforms such as TikTok or Instagram, they tend to showcase promotional ads for vaping, different types of vape companies, of course, but not only within social media, but as it was already stated again and again, because it is such a huge problem, different vape companies market in a way that really appeals to teenagers. For example, Elf Bars is a really big vape company that is mainly many teens buy from Elf Bars because of the way they market. For example, if you search up their marketing strategies, they always have very colorful pictures, different colored vapes that vary in a variety of colors, and they always have a variety of fruits in the layout of their marketing, with vapes next to them to showcase the variety of flavors or how colorful and aesthetically appealing vapes can be.
All right, and not only that, but social media, because more people have started to use vapes, people are posting about it online, and then their friends are seeing, and their family members are seeing, and they want to get a try at it too because it seems cool or it seems something fun that they could do.
Yes, and as long as influencers as well on social media, you could go on TikTok, Instagram. If you see a big creator smoking and a little 9-year old sees it, he's like, that looks cool. Let me do it as well. So he starts researching and whatnot. And then the whole cycle starts over and over again. An influencer is obviously an influencer because he influences people with a big following. If this group of people, which is most influencers, they're the people that view them are minors, underage people. So these people seeing it as cool, obviously that's going to impact them obviously in the future.
Okay, so real quick, as you all brought up like the fact between like advertisement and social media, it really or I really thought about this question. How do you all feel about the portrayal of drugs within like the film industry? And do you really think that it affects the way that we behave and how we view things?
Yes, I do believe that the way drugs and other items such as that being portrayed in movies definitely do affect the way we think. For example, I've seen people and my friends especially talk about how, like for example, if they saw someone smoke it in a movie, they would say, "Oh my god, that looks so cool! I want to try. I want to be like that one day." And it really affects us because Hollywood tends to portray things as either really good or really bad. And in most cases, things like vaping, smoking, and drug usages, they portray it as something good or something that is cool, essentially.
I agree with Haley. When you brought up that how Hollywood um portrays like smoking and stuff, I when I was younger, when I was watching like films, I saw it as normal. How many times I've seen people on film smoking cigarettes? It's like, okay, that's something normalized. It has been normalized by film companies. But now I like you see the real dangers of it. You think to yourself, why was this so normalized?
Just to add to that too, I'm gonna really talk about video games, because I feel like those are a valid form of media as well. I'd say from my entire time playing video games that I've noticed a lot of games are that are rated E10 and up are rated that way because of the use of alcohol and tobacco usage. So I really feel like nowadays it's kind of hard to find a lot of games, a lot of AAA titles or maybe some or even indie games that don't have alcohol or tobacco usage. And I feel like that influx of it, even being in the games like that portrayed as it's not a bad thing, because your favorite video game is smoking, so it's not bad.
Okay, okay, so real quick, and I do agree with you, Andrew. Um, like within like games that we really play, it's really been like normalized to see like tobacco or alcohol. An example that I can really give is like Red Dead Redemption, like 1 and 2. You'll really see like them using like old school alcohol, like the hardcore stuff, and sometimes you'll see them use like tobacco, whether if it's like a pipe or like a regular old like cigarette or something back then. So we really have been like be desensitized from like seeing if things are like a bad thing for us or if it's like something that we should follow.
In
Um,
every
I,
media that you view, vaping is or using drugs is just another coping mechanism if you're just stressed with life. If you're feeling overwhelmed, you can just go smoke a cigarette. And it's wrong, but it's like the normalized thing to do.
Another question that I do have when it comes to education, what support systems do you think educators who want to address what do you think should be implemented for educators who want to address vaping in schools?
So, if I could answer that very briefly, I would say that a lot of the times the educators may see or may be aware that there are teens that are vaping within their classrooms because I have experienced that firsthand. Other times, I feel like educators also know when there's a vape involved because of the very strong aroma that comes from our school restrooms. There's no door next to the restrooms, so you can definitely smell the vape aroma in the hallways. Um, so, what I would say is that educators should really provide a system where they learn to speak up or catch the attention of their students and let them know that they are doing something wrong, whether it's their students or just students within the hallway. I definitely think that through anti-vaping initiatives such as ours, they should definitely know the facts, because I think at times, since adults also vape, they may not know the harms themselves. So teachers may also not know the harms of vaping and just know the overall perception that vaping is quote unquote safer than tobacco usage. So if they definitely know their facts, it would be great to have a support system by educators where they're able to speak to the students that are vaping, or if they catch a student vaping, speak to them and let them know about the harms that they know, to inform the teens that vaping can really be detrimental to their physical and mental well-being.
Okay, then. So, what specific policies or regulations do you believe in most effective in reducing youth access to vaping products?
Okay, so
Well, one thing,
uh,
oh,
you can go ahead.
you can, all right, okay. So one thing I definitely talk about is making it harder to get a license to in order to sell that type of thing. especially I've noticed just around my city and in general, I've noticed that there's been like an influx of vape shops. There's one around every corner. And I feel like that might be because the licensing, in order to get the license to sell drugs or the license to sell vapes and e-cigarettes might be too easy to get. And I feel like because of that, that I feel like there should be, stricter laws or stricter or more rigorous course when it comes to obtaining the licensing to sell that type of thing.
And adding on to what Andrew says, yes, there's a whole lot of vape shops. Actually, on my way home from school, I see like maybe three minimum. But I also feel another thing we could implement is maybe not like demonize vapes essentially, because a lot of times the teenager that uses the vape is struggling, and I feel like we should offer a support system where we could actually help the teenager get better, and that way they won't have to rely on vape so much.
And I also see many vape shops in the old neighborhood I used to live in. They closed down one of the stores to open up a vape shop, which has shocked me when I drove by it. But I feel like when there's so much reliance on vaping, what else can somebody do? There's not enough facilities, not enough environments for youth our age to just relax, relieve their stress. Recently, they closed a very popular spot, Barnes and Nobles, where teens used to hang out. There's not many environments anymore for us to relax and just find alternatives. So it's sad, but we need to stop vape shops and open up more environments.
Yes, and even our own law, I believe, in our community has a vape shop as well, or has one very close by, which obviously is open to the whole community. There's little kids walking around, teenagers, so they're gonna firsthand see those advertisements, and obviously it's gonna persuade them to try it at least once.
Okay, so real quick, I want to touch on something that I recently that I remembered. So over like the last couple of years, I know that Governor Kemp of Georgia has like signed bills to kind of be able to restrict like teens or minors, or people under the underage like of 21, like having access to like drugs within like vape stores or gas stations or anything that you can really find them in. So one of them is like House Bill 494. This is establishing like a newer side of restrictions for the profit and also the sale of hemp or tobacco products within the state of Georgia. This, of course, is going to make you like 21s or older to be able to purchase or consume these. This includes like CBC or other like cannabis related things. You also have to have a license to even like cultivate, because you know that how people like to cultivate and sell like illegally. And of course, this was like created for like the public safety because, of course, I know like Governor Kemp has like talked with teens, especially like myself, like briefly. And I know like teens are like increasing like with the statistics and percentages with like drug usage, and I know he's like really looking at that. So for him, like slowly taking those steps to um like put those laws in place to kind of prevent us or other teens to be able to have access to it is like great, but at the same time, people still do it even with this law. I know like with people like when I was in school, I know that people would like come in with like edibles or like vapes or weed pens, for example. And of course, like my school knew because it was like a small type of school, but they couldn't really do anything because one, they could do stuff to like take it, discard, or turn it over to like the campus or law enforcement, but they couldn't really do anything outside of that to like kind of prevent any stages to them even having access to them.
Right, exactly. Like you said, access. Even within the school, there is something called plugs, which are the people who are get those plugs get it from an adult that have a license to go in a vape shop, they give it to that plug within the school, and that plug distributes the vapes, the edibles within the people in the school. So that also makes it easier, even with all those bills and laws passed. It is a big step, but also they will still find a way to get what they want, which is the vapes and the edibles, because it makes them feel some sort of way. They're dealing with something, okay. But these plugs who are also minors, they're just getting their stuff from an adult. They're distributing that within schools. They can meet up in the bathroom. They can meet up uh, in the back of the school, and nobody will know because it's within the school. It's a normal student walking down those halls that is distributing this type of illegal substance. So, like I said, it is a big step, but even with all these laws, people will still find a way to get what they want. So, yeah.
Okay, we are now on our last question. What are you actively doing to bring further awareness and prevention to this cause within your own community?
Yeah, so that's a really great question. I kind of touched on this very briefly earlier, but like I said, as the Walking in Authority Anti-Vaping Committee, we are going ahead and speaking to different city councils and are in the planning of speaking to, those city councils within all of Clayton County to, one, bring awareness to the effect of vaping on the physical and mental well-being, but also let them know that there is a ongoing issue and growing issue within our own schools that are in Clayton County. Um, and one major approach that we've already taken is that we hosted our youth symposium with the Georgia Municipal Association and Georgia City Solutions. And we were actually able to be the host for the main session. And within the main session, we made a presentation to teens from all over the state, different teen councils. And we brought to their attention the impact that vape can have on their physical, mental well being, all the way to why teens vape, how it starts, and again, as Uche and Kim mentioned, different alternatives that can be taken. And through the main session, we also put teens to have the mindset that vaping is a problem because it genuinely is. And within that main session, we also had the teens practice their very own anti vaping campaigns with, again, the different teams within different city councils. And essentially, with the anti vaping campaign, they were able to tell us not only the effects that they were able to retain from our presentation, the information that they were able to retain, but also some possible procedures that they themselves can take in their own cities and in their own city councils. And it's important to note that these teams come from all the way from North Georgia to South Georgia. So it's very spread out, very distributed. So it's good that they now know the effects of vaping, and they know possible initiatives that they can take. And starting from us, we branched out to these teens, and now these teens, with their campaign in mind, they're going ahead and implementing or hoping they implement these campaigns within their very own cities or regions within Georgia. So collectively within the state, we raise awareness to the issue, and come up with different ways that teens can tackle the ongoing and growing vaping problem.
And me personally, in my personal life day to day, I try to encourage my friends to look into other stress relieving opportunities because we're in school, we have assignments, we have exams, and it's easy to get overwhelmed. So I try to remind them to just take the healthy ways of coping with stress because you can easily, it's possible to just find a vape and relieve your stress that way. But I want to remind them there's healthy alternatives that include physical exercise, doing things you love, as I will continue and always say, and just breathing to release your stress.
Okay, so with that being said, I want to thank you all for coming out and being our guest today. This is a huge thing to kind of talk about, like the effects of like vapes, smoking, and also like drug usage within like our own type of generation or just teens in general. So, with that being said, Students for Equity has established this platform to allow students to amplify their voices within social justice issues that are occurring within our everyday, within and outside of school. If you are really interested with joining our advocacy or even backing us up, you can email us at studentsforequityinschools@gmail.com. It's not FOR, it's the letter 4 with this email, students, the letter 4, for equity in schools@gmail.com. Educational Entities has proudly been our sponsor and supporter for the No Cap Zone. And visit educationalentities.com to engage with us more as we aim to amplify more youth voices inside this advocacy space. We'll see you all next time.
All right, goodbye. Thank you for having us once again.
Yes, thank you so much.
This was a wonderful
Thank
discussion.
you.
No problem.
I'm not even sure mine's turning off. Hold on.